right, well, good afternoon, Hillcrest Middle School. It has been far, far, far too long, but back with the shelter-in-place edition of Deeths and the Greek. I am Will Deeths, the principal. Oh my goodness, it's been a long time if you can't tell right there. And I'm here with none other than George, the Greek satirist. Greek, how are you doing today?
Deeths, it's another beautiful day. I wish I could say it was at Hillcrest, but we're here distance learning. We're online. We're Zooming. We're Skyping, whatever the case may be. But you know what? We're thriving. We're surviving because that's what Hawks do, Deeths. That's what we do.
You're dang right about that right there. I know. I mean, if only we could be doing this live in person.
That's right.
From Hillcrest Middle School. That would be the only thing that would make this better for sure, especially having the students around. So tell me, Greek, we've now been off. It's been a little bit over a month now since this whole shelter in place started taking over. Of course, we were on spring break when this whole thing started. What have you been doing to keep yourself busy? What have you been doing to make sure the Greek is staying sharpened and ready to go for the season?
Well, let's take it back to before, the shelter in place took place or whatever. And we had our spring break, right? Hopefully everyone had an opportunity to enjoy the spring break. The Greek was everywhere from New York City. He was out in Greece. He was flying over to Greece. He took it back to the West Coast of Hollywood. And then, he even decided to scale a little rock. That's base camp behind me, all right? And Mount Everest. So, the Greek took advantage of his time off, even had a chance to ball with the Splash Brothers, Steph and Clay. We're balling a little bit, but I took opportunity to do that. With regards to the Coliseum.
Did you go to Las Vegas? I see.
Hey, still sour. So that's an open wound, Deeths. All right.
Oh, I saw the Raiders logo and I just assumed.
Hey, I just like to remember the good times. All right. That's it. Yeah. But outside of the spring break, just interacting with the kids, trying to keep them physically active because we know how important that is, especially during a shelter in place. You guys got to get out there and move. It helps 100%. A lot. You know what I mean? Just helps for everything. Staying in the house. I know we got our video games. You got your TikTok or whatever. You're watching
social media. That is.
Whatever. Yeah, got no idea. For us, Deeths, that just meant a clock, right? That's just meant
exactly. I know exactly. TikTok. That's what my watch on my Mickey Mouse watch does right there.
The little hands going. That's right.
Exactly right.
So you got keeping them active. And what's awesome, check out our new Facebook page. By the way, we got a Hillcrest P Facebook page. Check it out because you all are sending awesome videos. Pictures of the homemade workouts you guys are doing, how you're going out with your families, practicing social distancing, by the way. All right. Just remember, rule of thumb, act like they're Sergio Blanco. You'll definitely stay 6 feet away, okay? You know what I'm talking about?
That's at least 6 feet away right there, Greek, at least 6 feet.
So families are doing awesome, doing a great job. And it's been nice. Again, we would much rather be there for sure, but to be able to interact and work with kids and their families and them showing us how they're working out, staying active has been huge. It's been nice. So
that's been great. Now, so tell me, Greek. So look, when it goes to distance, before we get, of course, into our favorite topic, sports from around the globe, here. When it comes to distance learning, what has kind of been your biggest challenge as it comes to teaching our students over a computer screen rather than being in Hillcrest Hall with them?
That we can't play our sports. We can't do a lot of the games we like to play together and do that. And just to have the interaction, it's one thing to type and talk and communicate over the phone, but to look you in the eye, to see how happy you guys are, to see how much you're enjoying each other, and having a good time at PE or any class at Hillcrest, quite frankly. I mean, that's the difficult part. We have these desktops, we have these ways of interacting, but you don't have the personal aspect. And that's definitely been the most difficult part for sure.
There we go. Well, you know what, Greg, I totally agree with you right there. Missing the kids when I'm at Hillcrest, when we have people pull up we do curbside delivery for anything they need at Hillcrest right there. Always trying to get out there, say hi to folks, see people. I mean, it has just been an absolutely bizarre school year right here. And, especially for that class, Hillcrest class of 2020. We're sorry, but we're going to do something special to make sure the end of the year works out good for you guys. Have a nice little virtual graduation ceremony there.
And if I may, for that class, I mean, that's got to be one of the most resilient classes. I mean, we're talking about the first 2 years, they had fires to contend with, right? And now you got this whole distance learning. And I think that my heart definitely goes out to the 8th graders for sure. Because, in a way, we didn't have the opportunity to have a field day, to do our color run this year, and just fun stuff that we always anticipate and look forward to at the end of the year. So, but I know that it's going going to make this group ever more resilient going to high school and moving forward. But definitely our heart goes out to the 8th graders, all our students, but for sure our 8th graders as well.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Especially because you know what? Frankly, at this point, outside of, virtually, we're not going to get a chance to see them anymore, and right. That's a shame. It's a great, great class right there. And I know that whatever high school they go to are dang lucky to get those group of kids. That's for sure.
Hands down. And they'll be super fit and athletic, all right? Whatever class they go to, all right? Understand that. We know that, all right?
Dang right there. There's no doubt about that. Well, look, Greek, let's talk about some other things right here. So it has been a little bit barren on the sports landscape since the shelter in place. Of course, right before we went away to spring break, it was when NBA said, you know what, we're canceling games. Next day, MLB says we're canceling games. Every sport through there, hockey as well. But hockey, that's is that really, that, sorry, Nick Pulley, no, I don't want to say that.
We love you, Pulley, but come on.
Exactly. But so how have you been keeping your sports fix? How have you been getting that sports fix taken care of during this time of during this all is going on right here?
Well, first off, thank God for The Last Dance. ESPN produced fantastic.
Amazing.
It's been great. Fortunately, we had the draft. We can watch the draft.
Well, I'm gonna say now that we're coming back to the draft there in a few minutes. Greg.
Didn't mean to jump the gun. It's just a lot of old footage. Thank God the Warriors went on the run they did, because it's great to see all the highlights, all the clips of that. So that's been holding me over. But outside of that, these are some thin times. These are definitely some rough patches. We used to always joke with Mr. McDowell that post Super Bowl until March Madness, that was you're in the desert. You're walking, there's nothing or whatever. But we won't complain anymore because it's rough now. You know what I mean? I was to the point where I was watching. I was trying to they had something on ESPN, it's ESPN the Ocho. They were doing rock paper scissors. They're trying to from a distance. I'd be watching anything, Deeths. It's just crazy.
I was watching a replay of a cornhole tournament, of a championship cornhole tournament, a replay of it. No, no. So tell me here, Greek. I know you and I together, we both enjoy watching old clips on the YouTube right there. I think that's what the kids call it these days.
Who knows?
Now tell me here, what has been your favorite sports clip you've pulled up on the YouTube since this whole thing has been taking place?
There's been a couple ones, all right? And obviously it's going to be Oakland related or whatever. 2000. As much as I love the 2002 and we went to the Super Bowl, and there wasn't a game, there wasn't a Super Bowl that year. None that I could recall.
Actually, no, I believe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe
with the new quarterback, by the way.
Oh, there you go, baby.
Exactly. Your favorite, and you spread all those fallacies about him being the greatest quarterback ever, which we know he's not. He's a top 5 at best, all right? He's the number 1 cheater, but he's not the greatest of all time. Anyhow, I digress. So 2000, look it up. It was actually 2001. The first year the Raiders were in the playoffs for about 13 years or whatever. First time in Oakland since 82. The Greek, a little Greek back in the day, was sitting in the black hole, actually a section above. And it was a game we beat Miami 27-0. Torrey James started off that game 90-yard touchdown run towards the black hole. Charles Woodson, stride for stride. The place went nuts. It went crazy. And that's my favorite Raider clip when watching that. And you got to love the actually last year's game 6, Warriors beating Houston when Durant was out. Nobody gave us a shot. And, Harden was feeling himself and all that stuff. And we came back, took care of business. So the Bay Area has blessed us with a lot of great sports memories. So the library won't go, we won't go through it quickly. Let's just say that, Deets. If we lived in Oklahoma, it'd be about this short. I know you can't, it'd be about this of the accomplishments. All right. So, but out here in the Bay Area, we got an illustrious, sports history. So.
Yes, we do. So let's get on to talking about, of course, last week, thank goodness, we had the NFL draft come along. Now, going first overall, no shock at all, LSU hero, Ohio native Joe Burrow gets to go and join the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, moving on there, though, the Raiders had a few picks in the first round right there. Greek, how are we feeling? Now, by the way, Al is looking down from heaven, so happy right now when they took when the Raiders take the fastest man in the draft. How are you feeling about that pick there, Greek?
I don't know if Al's looking down or if he's looking up, but I gotta tell you that was an Al Davis pick. And John Gruden, too much money. We spent way too much money. Mike Mayock, I mean, he's the guy who's making the picks in the 3rd and 4th rounds. He's the guy getting the Max Crosbys of the world, those type of guys. But it's just typical John Gruden. And what gave me angst and anxiety was ESPN was showing previous drafts. I don't know if you saw that the week before building up to it, and hearing his analysis of these picks. Oh, John Manziel is going to be an awesome quarterback. Just gave me that angst and worry that again came to fruition on draft day because we ended up with Henry Ruggs, which it was not the best receiver. You could have gone with the Oklahoma superstar. CD Lamb would have been a much better pick. Jerry Jeudy, worst of all, we don't get him. He goes to the Broncos. So I know the man's fast, but I remember we used to have guys like James Jett, the Rocket Ishmael. They never really produced. But again, Gruden loves speed. The NFL's going a fast game. So it is what it is. I do love the other picks, in full disclosure.
No.
Love the other picks, but the Henry Ruggs, and even that guy Arnett, the cornerback, was kind of a reach. But it is what it is.
I got to say, I didn't know much about Ruggs, and when I heard his name get called, I quickly went on the phone and Googled him, and I said, I guarantee he's going to have a fast time in the combine, and boy, yes, he did. I'm like, that's a Raider pick right there.
And not only that, I don't know if you saw it, like at home, he had the beautiful bathrobe. He was sporting. Everyone had suits. Everyone had that. But he was relaxed. He was cool. He was calm. So
it was a beautiful thing right there. But you know what though? All the different drafts, you can never say anything until they actually get on the field and see what those players perform with right there.
Exactly.
I mean, who would have guessed it? Who would have guessed last year Raiders picking Rookie of the Year right there? So it's a beautiful thing.
It is for sure, definitely. So time will tell, Deeths.
Exactly. So then also too, you mentioned a little bit Last Dance. Have you been out keeping up with the story of the 97-98 Bulls, and actually more importantly, the history of the Bulls and the history of Michael Jordan? What's your take on that right there?
I am the biggest proponent of Michael Jordan always. I mean, again, back in the day, a younger Greek grew up with the Bulls. I mean, just that was it. We loved our Warriors or whatever, but the Bulls were everywhere. And Michael Jordan was everywhere, right? You want to be like Mike. Everyone wants to be like Mike. And what ended up happening was you're just rehashing the memories and seeing his greatness again. And again, LeBron James, phenomenal athlete, phenomenal player. However, just from a winning perspective, from an attitude perspective, from coaching up people, you can't top Mike, And Mike did help. He had help with Scottie, but because we saw that, a couple episodes ago where without Scottie, it was difficult or whatever. But you saw how Mike, the drive, right? That everybody and rest in peace, Black Mamba, you know what I mean, and all that. But he definitely got it from Mike, and Mike just set off this generation. That's why these guys were 23, was because of Michael Jordan or whatever. Exactly. So I don't want to hear anybody else talking about who the greatest of all time is, because it is Michael Jordan, But again, you can have LeBron, but again, phenomenal athlete, great player, but he's not in that stratosphere.
No. And I think more than anything, that's the one thing I took away from it. Of course, I remember watching those series as a young adult and watching Michael, just the way he just took over games. And I think that I've always kind of felt like any discussion about LeBron being the GOAT doesn't have any place with it, because until you see Michael Jordan in action, there's no one finer Greek out there than Michael Jordan and what he did. And I mean, you take the personalities between Pippen and Rodman and Phil Jackson, you blend all that together. The fact that Steve Kerr, one of the great coaches of the NBA right now, is a minor role player in this whole kind of opera going on there in Chicago. Just I must say, it's helped me get my sports fix taken care of for sure.
And on a quick tangent there, how much do you hate Detroit basketball even more, right?
Oh,
those the bad boys, those their image or whatever. But you know what, Bill Laimbeer, give me a break. Like Isaiah Thomas, give me a break. You guys are fake tough guys or whatever. Michael Jordan, class act. Thank those guys after those games. Say good game. These guys, classless, gutless, and it wasn't because they're tough or whatever. It's because they're sore losers. They ain't bad boys at all.
I mean, I think though, actually we have a perfect example, because someone like Steph Curry, who does get beat up quite a bit, he doesn't react the way some of those other stars of our game these days do it. But Michael, he took that beating, just got up. His reaction is going to be, I better put on more weight so they can't do that to me.
What you get for you and I, Deeths, no problem.
Exactly. I mean, I got to say, I like to be Bear. I'll take on Bill Laimbeer any day he wants to go right there. That's not an issue for me, Greek, right there.
I was just talking about putting on the LBs.
No problem with that. Let me tell you something right there. Mrs. Deeth's been making a lot of bread this shelter in place time,
and carbo load, man.
I have been doing a lot of carbo loading. That is for sure, Greek. Well, look, Greek, I think this has worked out pretty well. I think we're gonna have to try to do this again. I think the people are calling for it right there.
I think they're thirsting for it. They want it. They're sheltered in place. There's a little anxiety. There's a little fear, whatever. But know this: that Deeths and the Greek, we're here for you guys. Hopefully we provide a little levity, a little laughter, a little happiness, a little sunshine, and whatnot. And if the people like it, which they will.
Oh, they will.
Will.
No doubt.
We'll bring it back more. But no, this Hillcrest, we miss all y'all for sure. This is weird. This is without a doubt weird, but you're going to make it through it. No doubt. No doubt.
There you go. So, Greek, final thought for our Hillcrest families and Hillcrest students out there.
Parting shot. Stay strong. Keep active. I'm telling you, being physically active in these moments, getting out, getting some fresh air, practicing the social distancing, and just communicate, Zoom with people, talk with one another. We're all in this together, and you all are going to make it through it. And before you know it, we're going to be at 725 Bloomfield Road. And we're going to be doing what, Deeths? We're going to be soaring, brother.
We're going to be soar, hawk, soar right there. Soar, hawk, soar. So again.
All right. So stay strong.
For George the Greek Satiris, I'm Principal Deeths. You guys, soar, hawk, soar.